Hello, my name is Pernille Moore and I'm autistic. If you're following me on my channel, you know that I'm at the moment working with creating the Awakening curriculum, which is a Buddhist practice where you work with the 10 fetters from the Samyutta Sutta. At the same time, I have just started an interview series with the contributors to this book that is called Autism and Buddhist Practice. There are 16 individual stories in the book from autistic people that are sharing their experience with their autism, how it was before and after they got diagnosed, how they have experienced joining a sangha, or how their Buddhist practice has been. And I am interviewing every single participant from the book. I can recommend you to, if you have a friend that is autistic or on the spectrum, and that is interested in learning about meditation, or learning about Buddhism, learning about mindfulness, learning about anything like that, to become closer to their own experience of the world and of life, then I can warmly recommend the book. All of the stories are very, very honest accounts of how it is to be autistic in the world, and how we are using mindfulness and meditation and Buddhism to connect. And every Sunday there's going to be a new interview with one of the participants, where we dive into what I'm asking all of the participants is, first of all, sharing their story about their life before and after diagnosing. Because what happens when you become aware that you're autistic is that so many things fall into place. In my own experience, I have always had this feeling of being different, not in the cool way, but in the very, very weird way. I have always viewed interaction and people and connections differently, and known that I viewed it differently than everybody else. It was like everybody else has been given this rule book, so they knew how to go about life and how to be in life, and I just never received that book or that memo. So I was just trying to fit in the best that I could, and then getting the diagnosis really was such a relief. It was such a relief, because suddenly I understood that there was nothing wrong with me. I was exactly like I was supposed to be, because all of the symptoms and the way that I view the world and the way that I am in the world and how I manage to be in the world is exactly the same as everybody else on the spectrum. And what I would like to do with this interview series is to ask the 3 questions to the ones I've interviewed. First of all, like I just said, the life before and after their diagnosis. Then I'm asking them about their Buddhist practice, because another thing we're experiencing as autists is that we struggle socializing. We're not like other people are, like a neurotypical person is. Our brain pathways are shorter, which means that our sensory experiences are different. If you imagine how it is when you go into a cafe, you and I can meet in a cafe, have a cup of coffee and sit and talk, and you can focus on our conversation. You can completely hone in on my voice and my micro expressions, and how I talk with you and how I connect with you. You can completely focus on that. The way that it is for us, for autistic people, then you have to imagine that you're on Zoom, you're on a call, and there are like 100 people on the call. Everybody has their microphone on, and all of them are doing things, moving things, making noise, talking at the same time with one another. Just like your brain cannot hone in on my conversation, then you cannot focus on what I'm saying out of the 100 people in the Zoom call, because all of the noises, all of the layers of sound are the same. That is how it is for an autistic person to be in a cafe, in a mall, in a supermarket, in a sangha. And that's why you often find that in a sangha, when there has been meditation and there's a tea break, the ones that are staying in the shrine room, going for walks, isolating themselves, going out and being away from where everybody is standing having tea and cake, that's usually the ones on the spectrum. Because I cannot be at a tea break where everybody's there, everybody's talking at the same time, and they're making noises, and there are all the layers of sound, there's all the layers of smell, and there's all the layers of sight, of things that I see. I pick up on a lot when I speak with people about micro expressions and body language, and all that is weaved in to my experience of the tea break, which means that I'm absolutely exhausted afterwards. So for a lot of autists, we are avoiding sanghas, and we're avoiding Buddhist centers, and we're avoiding those scenarios, retreats, because it's just too much. Going on a retreat is very much the majority of my time is spent regulating myself back to a normal level where I can interact again. Where for neurotypical people, going on a retreat is like the most transformative experience because it's just building on. It's not like that for us. So that's the second question that I'm asking the contributors. And the last thing I'm asking is that I'm asking into the chapter that they have written in the book. And it's amazing people that you're going to hear accounts from. Amazing people. And if you have a friend on the spectrum, or if you're on the spectrum, I can recommend you following the interview series, and I can recommend you reading the book. The reason why I'm doing this follow-up interview series of the book is partly that I would like this interview series to be a support and a help for people on the spectrum. For people on the spectrum, partly to see their own story reflected in the accounts that you're going to hear in the interview series. See that what you're experiencing is not weird or odd. You're completely fine like you are, because your story and your experiences are copy-pasted into thousands of people all over the world, which you never ever hear from. So it's to give people a voice, but also for people on the spectrum to see their own story reflected into the accounts. You're going to hear from men and from women. You're going to hear from lovely Jessica, that is autistic mute, that has just agreed to making an interview with me as well. So you're going to hear a lot of different stories that are really, really, really deeply moving. And if you're on the spectrum, I'm sure you will recognize yourself in one or more of the stories, maybe all of the accounts. The series is also made as an educational tool for neurotypical people. So if you are part of a sangha, part of a Buddhist community, in a retreat center, if you are in a Buddhist center, if you are an order member, if you are a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, this series will be really, really useful for you, because it's going to give you an insight to how it is to be an autistic Buddhist, how we are so used to being perceived by the neurotypical community, all the things that we have experienced difficulties with, because we perceive everything differently. And there are very, very easy solutions to a lot of issues. The only thing that is needed is for the neurotypical community, Buddhist community, to educate themselves in how we perceive the world. And then you will find that by just understanding these things, you can make your Buddhist community into a very attractive space for people on the spectrum. We have a lot of things to give to a Buddhist community and to a sangha, because we are different in so many ways. A lot of our special interests are, for example, my special interest is the suttas, and it is Buddhism, and the way that I'm working with the Samyutta Sutta and with the Bahia Sutta and with the Satipatthana Sutta, the Prajnaparamita, the Brahmaviharas, all of that. I'm using all the information because my mind works in a different way, my brain works in a different way. I read the suttas almost like it's a treasure map, you know? All the suttas are referring to one another. And for every sutta you read, you need to really expand the message and the knowledge in it, and then you will see how all of them are weaved in together and gives a completely different picture on the Dharma. And I read the suttas like that and understand the suttas like that because I have an autistic brain. And that is what I'm trying to come across with the awakening curriculum that I have on my channel, where I use the different suttas and the lessons in the different suttas in helping people looking through the greed, anger, and delusion, and release the suffering. So the interview series is very, very much also an educational tool for Buddhist centers, Buddhist sanghas, and Buddhist communities for the neurotypical people to know how it is to be an autistic Buddhist. So that was it. I hope you're going to enjoy the series. I hope you're going to share with your neurotypical friends in your sangha and with your friends that are on the spectrum. And if you have any questions, feel free to write me. Thank you.